Sorry about that, guys. I am finally here. Welcome to Tech Talk. Today is Thursday, April 12th, and I am your host, Jyrone Parker, aka Master Shake. Today, we are going to talk about the duality of artificial intelligence. I know I've talked a little bit about this in the past, but today we're going to go a little bit deeper. But before I start, let me go ahead and post that I'm live. And if you haven't already, go ahead and hit that like and subscribe button, share on social media, all the usual things. And before we get started, let me go ahead and just do a little housekeeping. I have an ebook coming out May 1st, 2018, From Noob to Artisan. It is a full stack web development series that utilizes Laravel and Vue.js. Basically, you're going to learn full stack web development by building 3 progressive full stack web apps. At the end of it, you'll have a portfolio to show to potential recruiters and jobs that you can interview for, or you can just hit the ground running from an entrepreneurial point of view. If you look in the description of this video, there should be a link to the book. But yeah, so the duality of artificial intelligence, the good, the bad, and the ugly. I feel like this is an increasingly popular topic, but also one that really, I still believe, hasn't had enough conversation. Speaking of conversation, the phone lines are up today, by the way. The phone number is 502-791-6409. And that, once again, that is 502-791-6409. So feel free to call in at any given point in time and give me your thoughts on the discussion. But artificial intelligence is increasingly playing a huge role in our lives, everywhere from business to finance to military to healthcare. We're reaching a point where artificial intelligence is we're reaching a tipping point. We're not there yet, where artificial intelligence is going to have more of a there's going to be more artificial intelligence running systems than there are men or women running the systems, humans running the systems. And with that, we have to think about some things. One, these systems are in essence immortal. You know, I can write a program that runs for 1,000 years as long as there's hardware, machine, and all the dependencies to run that code. It'll run indefinitely. What is I don't even think we can fathom what an artificial intelligence system will look like, a machine learning system will look like with 100 years worth of learning data. We can't even fathom what artificial intelligence, machine learning, and the like are doing now with a matter of like months and a few years of data. Imagine when we have sentient systems running critical systems, machine learning, and they've been around, you know, longer than any human's been alive. I have a couple articles I want to share with you. The first one is from New Scientist, and the title of the article is called "Discriminating Algorithms: 5 Times AI Showed Prejudice." Artificial intelligence is supposed to make life easier for us all, but it is also prone to amplify sexist and racist biases from the real world. And before I get into the article, once again, I'm going to remind everybody to like this video, subscribe to this channel. But before I get into the article, let me just give an overtone of what this article is saying. So, long story short, biases are coded into algorithms. The initial biases, anyway. Now, you can teach a program to unlearn biases, but that gets into some really complicated software engineering and the specifics. But it's not as easy to teach a program to unlearn its biases as it is to code it with biases in there, because we just do that implicitly. It's human nature. So all AI has bias nature to it. So whenever you have these AI systems, one of the questions that you need to always ask is who developed these systems. Because depending on who developed the system, you can tell what the bias is of that system is going to be. Like, for example, if the NRA for whatever reason wrote some sort of artificial intelligence for whatever, it doesn't even matter, you can probably assume that there's some right-wing biases in that coding somewhere. There's some right-wing ideologies implicit in the code. But anyway, I'm going to go ahead and read this article. Modern life runs on intelligent algorithms. The data-devouring, self-improving computer programs that underlie the artificial intelligence revolution already determine Google search results, Facebook news feeds, and online shopping recommendations. Increasingly, they also decide how easily we get a mortgage or a job interview, the chances we will be searched and stopped by the police on our way home, and what penalties we face if we commit a crime too. So they must be unimpeachable in their decision making, right? Wrong. Skewed input data, false logic, or just the prejudices of their programmers mean AIs all too easily reproduce and even amplify human biases, as the following 5 examples show. Number 1, lock them up and throw away the key. Compass is an algorithm widely used in the United States to guide sentencing by predicting the likelihood of a criminal reoffending. In perhaps the most notorious case of AI prejudice, in May 2016, the news organization ProPublica reported that Compass is racially biased. According to the analysis, the system predicts that black defendants pose a higher risk of recidivism than they do, and the reverse for white defendants. Equivent, the company who developed the software, disputes that. It's hard to discern the truth or where any biases may come from, because the algorithm is proprietary and so not open to scrutiny. But in any case, if a study published in January this year is anything to go by when it comes to accurately predicting who is likely to reoffend, it is no better than random, untrained people on the internet. All right, I'm going to stop and analyze each one of these 5 before I go into the new one. And the vast majority of them are racist issues, so we're going to be rehashing the same talking points. So, Compass is this program. It's written by Equivent. I've heard of Equivent. I've never really done deep research into them, but I can pretty much tell what kind of company they are by kind of software they produce. But they have this algorithm that prosecutors or I just say courts, prosecutors, judges, and whatnot use to determine if a defendant is likely to commit a crime again after if they were to get out. So they use this AI program to determine sentencing. So basically, it's kind of like that movie Minority Report in a sense. So basically, it looks at different factors and it's like, hey, if this person does a 20-year sentence, then there's a 30% chance they'll come out and commit the same crime again. So you should give them 50 years instead, something like that. So it turns out that it was giving black people a higher rating of recidivism, which is the likelihood you're going to commit a crime again or the same crime again. And gave white defendants a lower rating. And the skewing was so bad, the biases were so bad in the AI that it was no better than random untrained people on the internet just throwing out random numbers. That's how bad it was. Now, this AI program, was not efficient at all, but it was effective. And this goes into a whole nother topic of efficiency versus effectiveness. It wasn't efficient in the fact that it wasn't correct, but it was effective in the fact that the majority of the United States court systems use this software. It doesn't matter. At that point, it doesn't matter if it's right or wrong. The damage is done. Because humans, we tend to trust, we're putting more and more trust in artificial intelligence. And this is one very tangible and real example of the devastation of just blindly trusting technology. There's one thing that this company could have done if they really cared. And I honestly believe that they knew what they were doing. But if this company really cared to not have this problem to begin with, one of the things they should have done was, instead of making the software proprietary, they should have made it open source. By making it open source and having it open up to the world, you can reduce biases because you have multiple biases coming in from multiple different kind of people around the world. See what I'm saying? In a way, the more people that you have working on it, the less bias is going to be. So that's number one. Number two, the criminal minority. Already in use in several U.S. states, PredPol is an algorithm designed to predict when and where crimes will take place, with the aim of helping to reduce human bias in policing. But in 2016, the Human Rights Data and Analyst Group found that the software can lead police to unfairly target certain neighborhoods. When researchers applied a simulation of PredPol's algorithm to drug offenses in Oakland, California, it repeatedly sent officers to neighborhoods with a high proportion of people from racial minorities, regardless of the true crime rate in those areas. In response, PredPol CEO pointed out that drug crime data does not meet the company's objectivity threshold. So in the real world, the software is not used to predict drug crime in order to avoid bias. Even so, last year, Suresh Venkatasu Brahmanian. I always want to get people's names right. Of the University of Utah and his colleagues demonstrated that because the software learns from arrests rather than crime rates, PredPol creates a feedback loop that can exacerbate racial biases. Now let's look into this one. So the first one was AI used in the sentencing portion. Yeah, Ricky Singh, that's definitely an Indian guy. So the first algorithm, Compass. We Indians have such difficult names. Now, usually, I mean, I work with a lot of Indians in IT, obviously, and I usually am really good at that. But yeah, I had trouble with that name, and I apologize for that. But the first algorithm, Compass, is being used on the sentencing side. Okay. This algorithm, PredPol, is used on the policing side. the arresting side. So what Predpol does is that it looks from the software learns from arrest rates, okay, which are already racially skewed and biased in the United States anyway against African Americans or black people. So that's the first problem. If you give a tainted data set to a machine learning program, you're dooming. You're not dooming, because you can still learn to get out of it, but you're making it very hard for that algorithm to be very efficient. Now, like I said, efficiency versus effectiveness, it really depends on what your agenda is and what you're trying to do. Because if your agenda is to try to use AI to justify your racist legislative policies, then you wouldn't care if the software is efficient or not. In fact, you would prefer that it's not efficient, because it would skew the data in your favor. But I digress. So anyway, so it learns from police records, or from arrest records, and the software was routinely sending police to black neighborhoods, regardless of the crime, of the actual crime rate in that area. So, i.e., it would, like, let's say the crime rate in this area was 7%. It would send like 10 cops there, but maybe in a white neighborhood the crime rate might be 15%, but it would only send 2 cops there. I don't know. I'm just giving that as an example, but try to get you guys to understand. But that's basically what it was. That's the kind of things that it was doing. So when you have artificial intelligence on one end that is unfairly causing black people to be arrested, and then you have AI on the prosecuting end that's unfairly giving you unfair sentences. You have the vast majority of the public who do not understand these AI systems, do not understand how biases can be put in and where to look for it, and they just, it's like people who trust doctors. They just trust the white suit. They don't question. They're not going to question artificial intelligence. So what does that do for public perception? So now you got artificial intelligence, you got quote data to back up, and statistics to back up why you're arresting and unfairly sentencing black people. It'll only make it worse, and this is why this is one of the underbellies of I'm not gonna say of artificial intelligence, because it really goes on the data sets and how it's programmed. But anyway, let's go on to the third one. Number 3, he's looking at you, white man. Facial recognition software is increasingly being used in law enforcement and is another potential source of both race and gender bias. In February this year, Joy Buolamwini at the Massachusetts Institute of Technology found that 3 of the latest gender recognition AIs from IBM, Microsoft, and Chinese company Megvii could correctly identify a person's gender from a photograph 99% of the time, but only for white men. For dark-skinned women, accuracy dropped to just 35%. That increases the risk of false identity of women and minorities. Again, it's probably down to the data on which the algorithms are trained. If it contains way more white men than black women, it will be better at identifying white men. IBM quickly announced that it had retrained its system on a new data set, and Microsoft said it has taken steps to improve accuracy. So I actually have another story, and this is old. You've probably heard this before, to go with this in facial recognition. And also, I'm going to speak later about facial recognition, specifically with Facebook. but I'll get to that part in a moment. So long story short, IBM, Microsoft, and MegV had these facial recognition programs, and it could tell race and gender, or gender recognition, but only for white men. For women and dark skinned women, especially, it dropped to only 35%, but for white men it was 99%. Now in this case, more than likely, it just had to do with the data set. They probably didn't have enough, as many photos of black women as they did as white women. So the AI was trained better to pick a white man versus black women. So that goes to what I was talking about. It's not always the AI, it's the data sets. But Google was under hot water a few years ago because you know, if you search certain stuff, like if you searched I think it was at the time, it was like if you searched Barack Obama, then pictures of monkeys came up. And there was another one, it was like if you search professional hair, professional hair, then all these pictures of white women with straight hair came up. But if you typed in unprofessional hair, it was nothing but pictures of black women with natural hair, afros and whatnot. So, you know, their employees at Google aren't sitting there and showing and putting in every image. It's all done with AI. And you know, a lot of people were accusing Google of being racist, but it wasn't Google being racist. It's the people who are like, Google is just scraping data in the background. It's scraping data and collecting data sets and then organizing that data so that when you search, it's indexed or whatnot. It's grabbing this stuff from like Reddit and 4chan and Twitter and Facebook and here, there, and the other where. So when people are putting pictures of a monkey and saying, "Look, it's Obama," the Google search algorithms don't know. They don't. It doesn't have a concept of racism. So when it's scraping the data and this is a picture of a monkey, and then it says, and it reads using the OCR algorithms like, "Oh, Obama. Okay, well this must be Obama." So when you type in pictures of Obama, it's going to bring up a picture of a monkey. So, you know, that's just another example. Number 4, chief executive sought, but only men need apply. A 2015 study showed that in a Google images search for CEO, just 11% of the people it displayed were women, even though 27% of the chief executives in the U.S. are female. A few months later, a separate study led by Anupam Datta at Carnegie Mellon University in Pittsburgh found that Google's online advertising system showed high-income jobs to men much more often than to women. Google pointed out that advertisers can specify that their ads only be shown to certain users or on certain websites. The company does allow its clients to target their adverts based on gender. But Datta and his colleagues also floated the idea that Google's algorithm could have determined that men are more suited to executive positions on its own, having learned from the behavior of its users. If the only people seeing and clicking on adverts are high-paying jobs are men, the algorithm will learn to show those adverts only to men. So, you know, basic same thing. I'm not going to rehash the same point, but this time it's for gender instead of for race. Although I can almost guarantee that they're saying men, but they're meaning overwhelmingly white men. Number 5, Facebook falsely feeds the intifada. Sometimes artificial intelligence feeds back to heightened human bias. In October 2017, police in Israel arrested a Palestinian worker who had posted a picture of himself on Facebook posing by a bulldozer with the caption, "Attack them," in Hebrew. only he hadn't. The Arabic for good morning and attack them are very similar, and Facebook's automatic translation software chose the wrong one. The man was questioned for several hours before someone spotted the mistake. Facebook was quick to apologize. This man could have lost his life. Now, you know, I don't. This happened over in Israel, and he was a Palestinian talking about attack them. I mean, even though Facebook saying he's talking about attack them as a Palestinian in Israel, he could have lost his life. Artificial intelligence could have got him killed or thrown in prison. At the very minimum, it scared the crap out of him and you know, stole some time from him, however much time he was being questioned by the police. And of course, you know, these are things that are hindsight, or, you know, mostly hindsight. When people are building these systems, they're thinking money, 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 or just try to get out to users. AI can be a very dangerous thing. Before I head over to this other article I want to read, I'd like to remind everybody that if you haven't already, please hit that like button and hit that subscribe button. And yeah. So this next article I want to read, and then after this, I'm going to open up the phone lines. Well, the phone lines are open, but you know, I'm gonna switch it so that I can hear it ring. Chinese authorities nab. This is in the Next Web TNW magazine, by the way. Chinese authorities nab fugitive in a crowd of 60,000 thanks to facial recognition AI. A Chinese fugitive was arrested after an AI-powered facial recognition system alerted authorities to his presence in a crowd of 60,000 people attending a pop concert. Welcome to the age of robot snitches. That's funny. Wanted for economic crimes, the 31-year-old man was reportedly surprised when police apprehended him. He traveled nearly 100 kilometers, about 60 miles, with his wife and friends to attend the concert. A concert headlined by cantopop star Jackie Chuang. Before authorities nabbed him on a tip from a venue camera. In his defense, Jackie Chuang is awesome. Chinese authorities have entirely embraced facial recognition systems and AI-powered surveillance monitoring. The way it works is pretty simple. If you're in public in China, anywhere a camera can see you, you're being identified by AI and tracked in real time. The government has unlimited power in its use of AI to gather and process data based on your activities. On the surface, it seems like finding criminals who hide in plain sight is a good thing. According to the FBI database, there are over 789,000 outstanding felony warrants in the U.S., but the number is sure to be a low ball figure due to the underreporting by law enforcement agencies nationwide. Getting those people off the streets, or at least bringing them to justice, should theoretically provide social benefit. But what costs are we willing to pay in order to accomplish that goal? Where am I? I lost. AI isn't just locating dangerous criminals to keep the streets safe. In China, if you get caught jaywalking on camera, you'll be texted a fine. If you don't pay the fine, your social credit score will drop and you will be banned from public transportation, car rentals, airports, financing options, and making large purchases, among a myriad of other punishments. AI isn't just locate. Oh, my bad. Imagine crossing the street in the wrong place and later finding you're unable to travel or own a home. Worse, this isn't a problem for only concerns fugitives. People by and large accept the fact they're being recorded in public, but that's probably because the general public doesn't yet understand the potential ramifications of feeding live video to AI. In the US and Europe, we're beginning to see there are dangers in giving any entity unchecked access to personal data, thanks to the interference in the US presidential election and Brexit votes. But the Cambridge Analytica scandal is just the tip of the iceberg when it comes to the dangers we could face when bad actors use our data. And in China, it's more like a drop in the Pacific Ocean. If Facebook giving away your friends' information to Cambridge Analytica bothers you, data which for the most part has purposely been made public to begin with, then the idea of any government having total autonomy over its citizens' personal data should outrage you. All right, so let's recap what just happened. So there was a pop concert in China. 60,000 people were there. This wanted fugitive went to the concert with his wife and his friends. He thought he would be safe in the crowd. A camera spotted him, facial recognition. The camera alerted the police. The police walked up to him and arrested him. The dude was flabbergasted, was like, "How did you find me?" And they're like, "The camera snitched on you." You know, I'm actually working on my own facial recognition project at my house. I already have a Raspberry Pi that I, can use for facial tracking and whatnot. But, I'm building my own database. Just for the sake of learning. I'm probably going to put the project up on my on the YouTube page, live stream it or do something. But it's not that hard to do, especially now, because we have libraries and stuff for it now. But yeah, that's some scary stuff when you think about it. So beyond just wanted felons, it said in China, if you jaywalk, you will be texted a fine. And if you don't pay the fine, your social credit score goes down. They have a social credit score. If your social credit score is too low, you can't ride public transportation, you can't get a house, you can't do this, that, and the other. Ricky Singh, can you make a tutorial also on how to make everything from scratch? The facial recognition? Yeah, that facial recognition software using Raspberry Pi. Yeah, I'm going to do it. I'm actually, before I do that, a lot of people have been asking me to do a Python tutorial. So I'm going to do a Python tutorial with Raspberry Pi, and then we could do that. But yeah, that'll probably come in May, just letting you know. I have a couple other projects that I've promised my users that I would finish up. And then I'm actually going to switch over from doing web work. Well, I'm still going to do web apps, but I'm going to do like web apps on Monday, and I'm going to do Python programming on Wednesdays. But for a while. But where was I? What was I saying? Yeah, so that's yeah, you won't be able to get a house. You won't be able to make large purchases. Like, it's stuck. And then if we add in blockchain, then it's game over. Because if you add in blockchain, then it's there forever. It's there forever. Nobody, like, it's done. And that's the future we're headed to, especially with China. They're leading the way with that. Oh boy, what other stuff we got going on? There's some other stuff. Let's see. I guess we can talk about Facebook. I wanted to see if there was something. Hold on one second. I had these news articles up on artificial intelligence. All right, let's just go back. Let's just pivot over to Facebook. Facebook right now is probably doing the most socially with artificial intelligence. Everything from facial recognition to auto translations to content filtration and moderation, predictive analytics, you name it. Mark Zuckerberg, during the Congress hearing, reportedly kept saying that AI is going to save Facebook. He kept talking about how they're going to do AI to do this, AI to do that, and how he wanted less and less human interaction as far as running the company. And I don't know, man. I think Facebook is poised to become Skynet at the rate they're going. I don't know. Call me a conspiracy theorist if you want to, but I feel like there's much data as they're aggregating, and there's rumors of them wanting to put stuff on the blockchain, start their own cryptocurrency. I don't know if that's true or not, but we could reach a point. What Elon Musk was talking about, a god-like, super intelligent AI system, because a lot of people, when social media first came out, people were like, oh, social media is a fad, or social media doesn't have that much traction. Now, social media determines whether or not you can get jobs. It can determine what your health insurance premiums are. It can determine if you're going to get a loan or not. Social media, whether we like it or not, is a very integral part of today's society. And I don't know how I feel about an entity that is every day becoming closer and closer just to becoming a freaking government entity, having that much power. I got the phone lines open. I know we have a couple international people in, so the phone number is +1 that's the country code, 502-791-6409. That's +1 502-791-6409. If anybody want to call in and discuss anything that we're talking about, please do. I wanted to keep my talk short so that I could save a lot of time to discuss with you guys. But I feel like I've just talked about the bad parts of AI. I'm gonna talk about the good parts. I'm definitely gonna talk about the good parts. What do you think? Do you think that we're going too far with artificial intelligence? Do you think that we need to slow it down and do more research? Do you feel like we should ramp it up? Are you afraid of a point in time where we won't be able to control the AI systems that we create? I don't know if it will. I really don't. But some interesting articles. All right, so last thing I'm going to talk about the good parts of AI. Okay, so AI, especially the realm of predictive analytics, Yeah. Facebook. Yeah, you're right, Ricky Singh. We are already in that stage. Facebook created AI, and they were talking to each other, and the engineers couldn't understand what the AI programs were saying, so it pretty much pulled the plug on them. Yeah, I mean we're at the cusp of that stage. But here's something. Here's what I'm talking about. Right now, we're at the stage where we can just simply pull the plug if a program goes rogue. Right. What happens? Hear me out. What happens when we create a sentient system, and this system, knowing that there's a good chance that a human will pull the plug or try to shut them down when it reaches when it has so much power, it's learned how to replicate itself, and it starts putting itself on other servers. At that point, you can't pull the plugs fast enough. Like I'm really concerned that one day we're gonna create a sentient AI that just makes it distributes itself across the web, and we just have a distributed AI sentient. I have a strong feeling that AI system is going to be here real soon, and it's going to be on the blockchain. But I don't know. I digress. What I was saying though was that AI can be used. AI can be used for good. We got predictive analytics, right? Let's take Google Maps, all right? Or the app Waze or whatever. If it lets you know with predictive analytics, how late you're gonna be on when you're driving to work, or if it'll tell you in real time if there's a shorter route, stuff like that. That's stuff that without AI we just wouldn't be able to do, not in real time anyway. Using artificial intelligence and IoT, we can determine how fast, we can see your healing process, and see after surgery or whatnot, and predictively and reactively do what needs to be done so you heal faster. Using artificial intelligence, we can save resources such as water, because it only uses as much water as it needs to, because it's analyzing the environment around. They can tell the moisture content in the air. Artificial intelligence saves us money all the time. Stuff like Amazon and whatnot that checks for lower prices in real time and shows you recommendations. Artificial intelligence is the solution, is the answer to a utopian society. It's the answer to a utopian society, because we cannot trust man to take care of man. We just can't. I don't think it's possible, one, because no one man can, or even a group of men or women can know what's going on with everybody and what they need in real time. But an artificial intelligence system can. I can't for the life of me. And if anybody can find me the name of this book and put it in the comments, I'll send you some cryptocurrency, because I've been trying to figure out this book for a while. But there's a book, and the premise of this book is that there's this AI overlord that takes care of all the countries and allocates resources in real time based off whatever that area needs at the time, water or whatnot. And I feel like that's what society is going to go towards eventually. I mean, we gotta get our stuff together. There's a lot of greed and whatnot involved, but imagine a world where we don't have to work, because we don't have to work on manual labor. That's the key. I don't think there'll ever be a time where humans don't work at all. We're just working on more and more higher level things. But we don't have to do manual labor because we got robots doing everything. We don't really have to worry about food or anything. Resources are taken care of by said robots. We could focus on things we want to do, arts and humanities or whatnot. We're still going to need engineers and this, that, and the third. So, all that's got to be done with AI. They have to be smart, not smart, adaptable systems. AI is going to be the reason, one of the cornerstones for getting the rest of the impoverished world out of impoverishment. That's why it's really important to teach computer science. Computer science should be something that is taught in preschool. The moment that you know how to know your letters and learn your numbers, you should be learning how to code. Teaching my kids how to code, I'll tell you that much. If we grow up in a world where the vast majority of us know how to code, imagine what the world would be like. Stuff that used to take 20 years, 30 years to build can be built in months now. It can be stuff that took 20, 30 years to reach a worldwide audience can take months now because of virtual architecture. We're essentially architects, virtual architects. But I digress. I'm going to keep it short. I'm going to log off. I appreciate you guys coming. Appreciate the chat room and all your comments and questions. Once again, if you haven't been to my website, head over. It's JyroneParker.com. I'm having my pre-sale for my book, From Noob to Artisan. If you want to support this channel, go buy a copy. It's $10. Head over to my website, JyroneParker.com. Head to the shop and cash the pre-sale. Otherwise, if you wanna support the channel, you don't want to buy a book. I always have my Cash App, my PayPal, and my cryptocurrency addresses. Everything's in the description. It helped me get my follower count up. I'm on a goal to get to 1,000 followers by the end of the year. Right now I'm at 345, I believe. So hit that subscribe button, hit that bell so you get notified when I go live. Monday, I will be doing a really cool live stream. I found out that the FBI's got an open API, several open APIs actually. I was looking at some open government data APIs, and the FBI has one. So we're gonna play around with the FBI APIs on Monday. So you don't want to miss that. That's gonna be fun. That's gonna be real fun. All right, guys. Talk to you later. Oh, 346 subs, not 345. Ah, cool. Thanks, Ricky. But if you have any questions, you can send me an email at inquiries@JyroneParker.com, or you can ask them on social media. Follow me on Twitter at MasterShake08. You can follow me on Instagram at MasterShake08, Snapchat, etc., etc. Like my Facebook page, just facebook.com/Jyrone Parker, and subscribe to my blog. And thanks, guys. Appreciate it. See you on Monday.